Friday edition of Studio 12 from the south end zone of Kyle Field. Will Johnson, Matt Simon with you, and there's really no better place to begin than the red zone on this Friday. It's become you do it twice at Texas A&M. It's a tradition. This is a tradition now.
I got to be honest, this is a big part of my week. I look forward to this every week.
It really is. It starts off the Thursday great, or just the end. It really just the end of the week, whichever day we end up doing it, and it's a lot of the work goes on at the beginning of the week, and it finally signifies that, the weekend's here. Start the people off with something great.
Game prep. You consider this a part of it,
without
don't
a doubt.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Get your mind right.
It's one of the more fine-tuning aspects of what we do each and every week. So where it's whenever the red zone comes around, we're getting ready. We're almost getting ready by then.
All right.
We have to ask the guest every week. Claude George with us this week. Claude, is this really that big a deal in the locker room? I mean, did you have to lobby to get in here, or did he try to trade something with you? Maybe road game tickets
Any lunches
or something?
Involved?
Or, he offered me some food, so I said, yeah, you can't turn down food.
Now, did he offer the nutrition center?
It's the food that we all.
He
was just gonna sit down and he was just gonna point out what he wanted, and I was gonna bring him a plate.
Food.
Yeah.
Okay, because food always comes with an asterisk. Right above you guys is a really nice nutrition center that you can just walk in and eat. So. All right, so you know what? The red zone this Friday includes Connor McQueen and Claude George, our linebacker. I had a question for Claude right away. Lafayette, Louisiana native, Acadiana High School. Does this program still use the term Louisianimal for you guys? Is that gone by the wayside, or is it still going?
It's still going. We got a lot of guys from Louisiana, so we try to recruit, from that area, so it's still kind of gone.
Now, have you
quick though, Matt, my co-host here, he's from New Orleans, but we don't. He's not much of an animal.
There's no animal.
There were no animals back when I was
animal lover.
But when I was in school, there were no animals, especially Louisiana animals. Have you found some good Cajun eating in this vicinity? Do you have to go to Houston, or how does that work? I've tried to look, and
I've tried to look a few places, but it's not the same.
No.
Cajun dish that's your go-to. What do you like?
Ooh, crawfish etouffee.
There you go. Connor, what about you?
See, I'm not a big Cajun food guy. I really don't like seafood that much.
Man.
Kind of shelf. Nah.
You're from Houston. That's close enough to the Gulf, my man. Come on.
It's close,
you're missing out, bro.
You have disappointed Claude.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm just more of a
You've
burger
disappointed,
and fries
I think,
guy.
all three of us. Claude's unhappy. Claude's going to throw down the headsets and get out of here.
He's done.
About to catch a fit.
Well, the Aggies coming off that game against Alabama last Saturday. A first defeat of the year, but as so many have stated, still so much to play for, and it starts with New Mexico State this week. But just want to go back to both of you guys and look at it from each side of the ball. Start with you, Connor. Offensively, your thoughts on the Aggies in Tuscaloosa against the number one team in the country.
I mean, you look back at the game, man, and you take out some of the sacks that we had for big yardage. We had more rushing yards on them than any team they've played all year, and which is not something like we're going to hang our hat on or anything. But we moved the ball very well, and what it came down to is us kind of shooting ourselves in the foot. And there we'd be moving the ball, and we'd have a penalty or a sack or a drop or something, get behind the chains to where whenever you get in a game like that against a defensive front like that, whenever they know that it's a for sure passing down, whenever it's 2nd and long, 3rd and 7 or plus, they're just going to tee off up front, and they're going to run their stunts, blitz their linebackers to where it really puts us at a disadvantage in terms of the pass rush and pass protection. So, on that, we really got to – in a game like that, you really have to put a focus on staying on schedule, and that way you have a run-pass option on each and every play, and you're not so predictable on offense. So I think we did a fairly good job of that throughout the game through sustaining drives, but then, there was about 5 or 6 minutes there of, like we said, just bad football to where we got behind the chains, whether it was fumbles, incompletions, things like that.
Claude, your take defensively against Alabama.
Well, we had a great game plan. We already knew they were a great offense. They have a great tempo. Jalen Hurts, he's been leading them into the right direction. But like Connor said, we kind of just had a few mistakes, and kind of where we start shooting ourselves in the foot. So,
And especially against a good team like that, if you give great teams opportunities in a tight ball game, they're going to take advantage of them. And you can really see that Alabama did that, and some of the mistakes that we made, they capitalized on it.
Yeah, and ultimately when I look back at it, just watching it, the fumble return for a touchdown that they got, is it particularly disheartening knowing it was 3rd and 26? It was kind of a run it and punt it play, pin them deep, and then you're going to go to the fourth quarter, and it's exactly what you asked for. You're right there in it in the fourth quarter when you punt that thing away. Is it particularly angering? Know that I don't know if any play's a throwaway play, but on 3rd and 26, it was just kind of a run it and punt it deal, wasn't it?
I guess so, and it just comes down to, I guess, just a lack of focus in terms of you got to protect the ball each and every play. What Coach Mazzoni always says, reserve the right to punt each and every drive, to where whether it's throwing the ball away, getting down, not taking a sack, not forcing a throw, or not being loose with the ball, things like that. Just reserve the right to punt to maintain your field position. And we did get the ball back since they scored, but you really want to, especially in a tight game against great defenses going against each other, you want to have great field position, and that's one of the things that we had to value a little bit more.
Yeah, well, Claude, I wanted to ask you about what you take out of a game like this. I think from an outside perspective, you look at it and say, man, we played all right against the number 1 team in the country on the road. Couple of things we do differently. Don't even have to play a great, perfect game. You just do a couple things, and you're right there in the fourth quarter. You know what special kind of team you have here. You know what your brothers are like. But to walk out of that stadium, surely disappointed. However, going toe-to-toe with the number 1 team in the country in front of 100,000 people on the road and knowing that you had it there, I mean, do you take encouragement from that, or how do you walk out of that stadium after Saturday?
I mean, yeah, we fought hard. You can't really be upset about the loss because it was a great team. Number 1 team in the country. But, I mean, I learned our guys are going to keep fighting. We're never going to give up in a game, and we're just going to keep fighting, and I love my team.
Your interception, it looked like a tough one to catch.
You
talk about your hands to these guys on offense?
No, they always talk about the linebackers can't catch, but that
thing was on you pretty quick.
Yeah, that one kind of hit me in my stomach, so I had to catch it.
He had no choice.
I had no choice, yeah.
We watched the replay of it, and it was an unfortunate play in the end because Donovan Wilson got the targeting call on the block, but we noticed that you threw the stiff arm. And if you didn't drop your hand about a split second too late, Donovan's helmet was going right. You may have had a few fingers lost there for a second.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Did you kind of take a deep breath? Oh, man, I avoided that.
Yeah, when I seen it, I was like, man, that was too close.
Nobody really ever wants to be on the other end of Donovan coming full speed.
Especially between two helmets when he's really coming at you.
That would have been
bad. Claude, I wanted to get your take on Chief. Not only is he the defensive coordinator, he's your position coach. Mm-hmm. For people that don't get to see him on a daily basis, describe playing for him, again, not only on the defense, but being right there in his room with the linebackers.
Well, if you're not his player, then I don't know, you're missing out because he's a great coach. I love Chief. He's the best defensive coordinator in the country. Mm-hmm. And it's an honor to play for him because he's done so much to help us improve. When he came in and helped his defense tremendously. And so, and not only is he our defensive coordinator, but he's our coach. So he's helping us mold our game and, making us the best players we can be. And I'm honored to play for him.
Mm-hmm. How does the offense look at Chief?
I think they're scared.
I would agree. I would somewhat agree.
It's an air of mystery almost to where it's like, what is he doing in there? He's just dialing up all this crazy stuff that we can't block.
Yeah.
It's frustrating at times, especially during fall camp or spring ball, whenever we're going against each other all the time. And it really is a sigh of relief. We get into that first couple games of the year, and you see, we're not the only team that struggles against that defense sometimes. But there's a tremendous amount of respect for him, just in the way that he's transformed this defense in just 2 years. Mm-hmm. Seeing where we were and where we are now, it's I mean, for lack of better words, it's night and day where we were then to where we are now, and it's really the common denominator. Mm-hmm. is Coach Chavis coming in, which is very exciting for us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Claude, we ran some numbers yesterday in the office. We were wondering about red zone defense, and they're frankly incredible numbers that you guys have put up. You don't always want a team to get into the red zone. They're going to get into the red zone from time to time. You guys have stopped them more than anyone in the country when
Matt
they get
came
there.
Up with the stat, 10 times an A&M opponent has gone into the red zone without getting any points. Mm-hmm. You guys have either created a turnover on downs, and missed a field goal, but that's incredible stuff.
Yeah.
Does that start with Chief? I mean, is that attitude that to talk about how you guys are able to lock down? And it's a very confident defense all the time, but it seems to just elevate itself even more when that team gets inside the 20.
Well, Chief, he's going to put us in the right position. He's dialing up the plays, giving pressures or being in zone. But as a defense, we definitely take pride in not letting anybody into the end zone. We kind of, once you get, like you said, they're going to get down there, but it's our job to keep them out of the end zone. So we take pride in that a lot.
Yeah.
Connor McQueen, Claude George joining us here on the Red Zone at Studio 12, the Friday edition. And Claude, Chief's kind of an emotional guy, isn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, he sort of wears it on his sleeve.
Oh, yeah.
Do you see that in the linebacker room?
Yeah, he's very emotional, but I mean that's what you gotta love about him. He's like he's gonna coach the game. He's gonna coach you with all he has, and like I said, it's just an honor to play for him.
His mental checks.
Oh yeah,
they've become pretty good, and I think it even fire up the offense.
Oh, without a doubt. Between him and the offensive line coach, Coach Turner.
Oh, yeah.
Between those two guys, I mean, you're ready to go to war.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
you're ready. You grab your shield, grab your spear, and just go full charge into the crowd.
You notice the Pulse gets in there on a lot of mental checks, our TV show. And you get a lot of Chief on that because he's so good at it. You don't get as much Jim Turner.
Yeah, you probably can't run that.
Y'all have to bleep out a lot of words.
Yeah, I always think at halftime I'll watch in the locker room Chief talk to the defense, and I always think it's a distraction because way in the background there's this Boston accent just screaming at people. I'm like, can the defense even hear what Chief is saying at halftime? Because Jim Turner's back there just going off on the even when they're playing well. It's not admonishing them. I mean, he's just a fire-up kind of guy. And I'd imagine your offensive line, Connor, they got to enjoy it with him in some ways, the same way these linebackers and defense love playing for Chief.
Without a doubt. And you got to love a coach that's passionate about the game. And you can really tell by both of those guys that they're going to give it everything that they have. They're going to put their guys, do everything in their own ability to put their guys in the situation and in the position to succeed. And you can see, especially at halftime or in pregame or anything like that, just not even reprimanding or, like you said, just getting onto him, but just the amount of energy and focus that they're putting into just the 3 or 4 minutes we have to make changes with your position coaches at halftime. Just the amount that goes into that 3 or 4 minutes where it is just incredible, to where we get done talking as quarterbacks and I'll go over there and I'll watch the offensive line just to hear what Coach Turner's saying and watch up what he's drawing. He'll go through about 2 or 3 boards sometimes, 3 markers because he's pushing so hard on the board.
He busts them open.
It's awesome, just the excitement and the passion that you can see in that. Is pretty inspiring.
Well, and that's one of the fun things I think about the Pulse is fans get to, at least in some small way, experience what you guys get, like in the mental checks. They get to see that. I think a lot of fans watch that, and they're ready to go play. I know it's Wednesday, but they're ready to go play watching that. The message, Connor, after the game that Coach Sumlin gave to the team right there in the locker room, I thought it was absolutely incredible. Just talking about how you guys – do what you've done all year. Hey, put this one behind you, move on. We've still got all kinds of stuff to play for, and it starts with New Mexico State. Again, that's a message that we've had on this show every week, and I think maybe people think it might be a coach speak thing, but it's true. You guys really do focus week to week to week and push it out, move on to the next one.
And that's really true, and that's how you got to play this game because you only have so many opportunities to play. And especially with us, with Claude and I being the old guys here, I mean, we really only have a finite amount of games left in our football career, possibly, and or especially here at Texas A&M. And whenever you realize that, you really have to take each and every one for what it's worth, and you have to go, focus on being 1-0 every week.
5 regular season games left, Claude. Got to be pretty excited. 4 of them are right outside these walls here inside Kyle Field, huh?
Being at home it's great, man. Playing at Kyle Field in front of the best fans in college football is just indescribable.
And Claude, with you, the junior college route. You went to Hutchinson, Kansas before arriving at Texas A&M. That's where you were after Lafayette, Louisiana. You come to A&M, and now you go into that locker room, that players' lounge. We mentioned the nutrition center. It's 100,000 people out here when you take the field. Has it come full circle? Do you think about that first day of college in Hutchinson, Kansas, and do you have just an appreciation for the journey when you look back on it all?
Yeah, I definitely have a great appreciation for it. I mean, it made me to the player I am today. I'm thankful for every opportunity that I have. It's always been a dream to play for Texas A&M, but every day I think about it like, man, I'm here playing at Texas A&M, and it's senior year came by so fast. I remember just being a freshman, and now I'm a senior, so appreciating it.
Yeah, I mean, for all of you, really, it's such a journey. And I guess the phrase for everyone is that it flies by.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you think about yourself 10, 20 years from now, whatever you're doing, everybody, I'd think, I'd love to go back to those days when I wore the maroon and white.
Right.
That's why you guys probably have so many pictures of it on your walls and stuff like that. But also this, the defense in practice. What is your description of Connor McQueen in practice when you're on the defensive side of the ball?
God.
Is he a trash
I don't
talker?
wanna
Does he
hear
get
this.
Does he? I mean, is he in your head over there at
Connor,
all? Or he's pretty vocal. Isn't he?
Yeah, he's pretty vocal. He can be a bit of a trash talker, but I mean, who isn't? I feel like we all are. Just competing against each other in practice, having fun, trying to make each other better.
Do you think he trash talks more because he's wearing a black jersey and knows that he can't actually get caught? Is that his out?
I think it's just his personality. He's a very, very
Great
vocal
answer.
guy.
Great answer. I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
That's just his personality.
He's the same no matter color jersey he's wearing.
Don't matter.
But also with New Mexico State coming up. And then one of the things when you guys scout an opponent, I don't think you really dive into their roster. It's not like you know a bunch of guys' names that play for those other set of Aggies in New Mexico State. But I wanted to ask both of you about one guy because maybe you've heard of him. I don't know if you have. Maybe if I say his name, you guys are like, who the heck is that? We don't know. But offense will have to face him. He plays linebacker for New Mexico State. Has anybody noticed that they have the leading tackler in the country? Rodney Butler is a linebacker over there, and I was looking at some of their stats. This guy's got 102 tackles after 7 games. He had 24 in their game against their rival, New Mexico. I mean, a linebacker's got to appreciate some numbers like that, doesn't he?
Yeah, that's very impressive.
And
I'm going to have to do my homework on him. Check him out.
Check some offensive tape. When the offense watches him, check some tape. I don't know if you guys have noticed him at all on tape.
We've talked about him and stuff. I mean, you just know his number. But
that's the thing. You guys don't know names, you know
numbers.
numbers.
By his number, because that's the way that the offensive line's going to call it. Whenever they identify the linebackers and things like that, they go by number. So that's just how we refer to it. But especially every week we've talked about before on the show, nameless, faceless opponents. But I mean, whenever you play against players like that, you definitely have to identify it. And our coaches are putting us in good positions to where we can exploit some of the things that their defense does, and he's definitely going to play a factor into that.
I've wanted to do this for a while on the show, and I've never really asked Connor. So maybe back when both of you guys were in your younger years, you'd play both sides of the ball. But let's start with you, Connor. If you could play one position on the other side of the ball, regardless of your size, doesn't matter, what position do you think you'd love to play the most?
That's a good one.
I'm going to go twofold here. I'd say free safety, just because –
You want to take people's heads off, don't you?
Right, and I feel like I could do that fairly well. No one off.
But, if you chose to do that on this team, the safeties are pretty good.
Right. I mean, I would be probably would have just stayed in high school, just elected to do high school over again, and just been a really good high school safety. But if I could just click and drag myself from the top right hand corner up and out to be 6'4", 270. That'd be pretty.
Yeah.
I'd more of a outside
trenches.
Let's say you're not playing safety at 6'4".
That's a defensive.
Yeah, I'm a DN. Yeah, I'm a DN, and I'm
pass rusher or a run stuffer? With a combo.
I'm more of a combo. I'm a well-rounded player.
Yeah.
Physical in the run game, but I have that fast twitch, that lean, all the good defensive ends talk about.
You're selling it, Connor, and I like
You know why I'd love to see that? Because I guarantee you the first sack you get a 15-yard penalty on an epic celebration.
Some sort of
I'm not sure what celebration it would be, but it would be fantastic.
Yeah.
The great play would be completely negated by the penalty.
Yes, absolutely. And then you'd probably be on the bench the rest of the game.
Right.
But that's
it sends a message.
Right.
It sends a message.
What about you,
Claude,
Claude?
on offense?
Receiver, tight end.
He had to say. You see that catch Saturday? He had to say receiver.
It's in there.
Guys
Yeah.
got
The
potential.
potential.
Yeah.
That's not an easy catch. That was not an easy catch. It was right there.
Yeah, I'm not going to say that we've been talking about maybe moving you over to the offensive side of the ball. Just throwing things around in the quarterback room. But I'm not going to say that we didn't talk about it.
That's
so,
right. You don't know either way.
I'll leave
Claude.
that one up for interpretation.
Red zone.
Whatever that one means.
I could come in there.
I'd like to see Claude on some 50-50 balls up in the air.
Yeah. With him, it might just end up being 55-45.
Yeah,
I like
exactly.
his chances.
Just dominating corners.
Yeah.
Same thing. You make a great catch, score a touchdown, you're probably going to get a 15-yarder too.
Oh, yeah. Probably.
Well, how tall are you?
6'2".
6'2"? What's Ricky? 6'3"?
6'5".
6'5".
He's 6'5"?
Yeah,
6'5".
6'5".
I thought you were about Ricky's size, but
Yeah, he
No.
got me.
you're bigger, but
Rick's
he
probably
got
one of
me.
the
I guess
bigger
he got a
guys.
little bit
Yeah,
wide.
Ricky's a big guy. He got me.
I'd say you could do some Ricky Seals Jones stuff.
I think so.
He's a good blocker. You could block out on the edge.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. I
Yeah.
can block.
I think
Pave
he's
the
more
way
of
for
a
Christian
a
Kirk.
flex tight end
Oh, yeah.
kind of guy, an H-back.
I like it.
That would be
Yeah,
fun.
Something like
I
that.
like it. And then maybe in a blowout, we get you one quarterback snap.
I just run. I don't think I trust.
He
my
wouldn't
arm.
put it in the air.
Yeah, I don't think I trust
Let you
my
call
arm.
your
More
own
of a
play, quarterback sweep 6
catch,
times and they're all the way.
catch,
Y'all just get in
shuffle,
front.
run.
That's all I need to do. Yeah.
Wildcat package with Claude
Yeah.
George. That'd be pretty good.
I'm in. Sign me up.
All right, fellas. Good luck this Saturday. November's here, that all-important month, or it's about to be after this game. But you got one to go before you get to November. All the best against New Mexico State.
Thanks, Will.
Appreciate it.